Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Dr. Karma Bryant and you are watching Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Thank you to all of you guys that come out on Sundays so that we can chit chat and talk about things that is or are on your mind. Today I wanted to address, what was my title? Let me look at my title. What qualifies you as a good source of supply? So for many of you guys, you look at yourself as a good source of supply, meaning that, and remember, narcissists think opposite than you do. So some of you, or most of you, look at yourself as being a good source of supply, meaning I provided her with a roof over her head, nice car, clothes, money, the finer things in life. She didn't have to work. He came home, meals were set. We had a beautiful home. The kids always looked good. I helped build his business or her business. I did this and I did this and I did this and I set my time aside. I gave up my own personal desires and goals so that I can make sure he or she, progressed. Now, keep in mind, that is a good source of supply and a good ego boost for that narcissist in their minds, because everything to them is an entitlement. And so what you're doing for them, you're looking at yourself as, I sacrificed myself to make sure that this individual is taken care of. I'm sacrificing because I care for this person. I put that person ahead of me to make sure that they are, and you're expecting that in return. Well, with a narcissist, they're entitled. They feel entitled. So they look at you as this is what you're supposed to do. And it's still not enough. They always move. I think someone said move the goalpost, so they always move the boundaries. And so their thing is that I'm entitled to that. You're supposed to be doing that. That is nothing to get a pat or a clap. That is what you're supposed to do. This is what you owe me. People owe me that. For them, a good source of supply is one that they have molded to be able to take the highest level of abuse and misuse and trauma. That narcissist that cheats and you keep forgiving them, and they've cheated for 30, 40 years and you keep accepting them and forgiving them because you love them. And so they know you're not going anywhere. So it doesn't matter what I do. So they just turn it up and turn it up and turn it up and turn it up. And so now they've been gone for an evening, they're gone for a day. After they're gone for a day, they're gone for 2 or 3 days. After they're gone for 2 or 3 days, they're gone for a week or two. They're gone for a month. They're gone for 6 months, and then they come back. But guess what? They know that you're always sitting there waiting for them to come back. These are the type that you will idealize. Remember, in the 3 phases of narcissistic relationships, they idealize you, and you are and this is the cycle that goes on throughout the whole life of the relationship. They idealize you, they devalue you, and then they discard. And this is the cycle that they keep running with you. And so whenever they want you back, that honeymoon phase, or after they've left or whatever happened, they hoover you back in and make you feel special. But now you're starting to notice some things. For example, they couldn't get enough of you at one time. They wanted to be right up under your arm. They wanted to be cuddled with you. Everywhere you went, they wanted to be. Now all of a sudden you're noticing they don't even sleep in the bed like they used to. Now all of a sudden the excuse is I don't like the mattress. So guess what you do? You go buy another mattress. That mattress is still not good enough. They still are not sleeping in the room with you like they used to. Well, I watch TV a lot and I'm a night hawk. And so there's always an excuse for those of you, and some of you already know that is their time where they're talking to or connecting with their other sources of supply, because that's the freedom, because you're in the bed, you're asleep. You're not worried about them. They're in the house, they're in their private room, or they're in another room, or they're in they come up with every excuse as to why they're no longer in the room with you. Some of them are into pornography. Some of them are into masturbation. Some of them are into contacting their new sources of supply, or they're hunting supply. And this is the only way that this is a habit for them. Because you have been devalued. You are not that relevant like you used to be at one time. You have become, they have broken you in. They have, they're accustomed to you. You have been devalued. Now that they've got you, you're to them, you're kind of old supply. You're doing what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be doing what you're doing. Now, this is the other thing some of you guys will experience, is that as they're meeting new supply, you are already doing everything that you possibly can to win their heart back, to win their affection back, to win their love back. I'm doing all this and I'm sacrificing all this and I'm trying to prove to you how much I love you and I don't understand why we've grown apart. But then every time they come back, they're always adding something else to what you should be doing. Well, you don't do this. Why don't you do this? Why didn't you do this? And you're thinking to yourself, I mean, what more am I doing besides giving you my liver, my lung, or my right eyeball? You know, if I could, as much as I love you, I would do that too. That's not enough. I need your whole head. I need your whole face, you know. But as they're, love bombing, or as they're connected and going to their other sources of supply, some of you guys like, where do they go for those few days? Where do they go for that week or two? Where do you think they're going? They're going to their other sources of supply. They've got other sources of supply. So when they create this argument, they create an argument that didn't exist. They get angry for no reason. You don't even know. So most of you guys are walking on eggshells at home because you never know when this person is going to blow up, and there is no reason to blow up. There is no reason for the argument. And when you don't play into the argument, you don't play into it and feed into this to help them blow up and have an excuse to leave, they get even more angry because they can't get out the house. They can't find a way to get out the house to get to the other source of supply. They're going to the other source of supply. So don't ask yourself a question, where do they go for those few days? At their other sources of supply, with the other source of supply, and then you don't hear from them, and then they come back as if nothing happened. So yes, you are a good source of supply because you're willing to accept whatever they dish out. And every time they come back from another source of supply, is something else added to your plate. You're not doing enough. You don't love me enough. If you love me, if they're gaslighting you as well. If you love me, if you really love me, you would. And you're not doing, and you're thinking to yourself, like, I've given up my career. I've got a college education. Maybe I don't. I've given up my career. I've done this. I've done that. I've done this. I make sure this. Everybody sees you. You're well dressed. You're doing this. You're whatever. And they always come back, and it's never enough. It's like, I can use the example of like, an interest-only loan. No matter how much you pay that interest, you never pay down the principal. And so you're constantly paying for the rest of your life. You're paying on the interest, but you never pay the principal. You never pay, unless you get cash to pay off that whole loan. You never will be an owner of whatever it is that you're paying interest only on that loan. Period. It's like an empty pit. It's like, remember that car that had that transmission, not the transmission leak, but not the transmission fluid, but the what is the green stuff? The radiator leak. And you had, every time you had to go somewhere, you had to fill it up with water, because when you stood still, it's going to leak all out. So you got to fill the radiator up with water so that you can drive. And you already know if you stop, it's going to start leaking out. It won't hold itself. Then when you stop, you got to put more. You got to ride around. You guys remember, rode around with that bottle of water in the back, or that jug of water in there, because whenever you stop, you got to put water back in there. And really what you need to do is replace the radiator. Well, that's exactly how that narcissist is. Nothing satisfies them. Nothing is ever enough. It doesn't matter what you do to try to you can't make someone love you. It doesn't matter what you do. Is never ever enough. They are an empty, bottomless pit. And it's like wasting your time throwing your expensive jewels or anything that you value into this bottomless pit. You never get a return. You never see it again. And it's just empty. It just falls into oblivion. Is that what it is? It's just this empty black hole. And it doesn't matter, no matter where they go, they are dissatisfied, disgruntled human beings that are never satisfied. No one ever satisfies their craving and their need for attention, for fuel, for, because they are very, what's the word we're looking for? Very insecure. I want to say pitiful, very insecure, empty individuals that are never, you can fill yourself up. You have to learn to love yourself, and you can be happy with your own presence, with your own company, with your own achievements, things that you do. But these individuals are an empty pit, and they always hold other people accountable and responsible for how they feel. And if they don't feel this way, and if they don't feel good about this, and if they don't feel good about this, it's always someone else's fault. And you, as the main or primary supply, you have gotten to a level where your pain tolerance is so high. You go through so much. That's what make you, in their eyes, a good supply, because they have molded you. They have trained you to be able to tolerate the highest level of pain, where the average person will look at you and like, do you know that the average person will either kill themselves or kill the person? And so you have been trained. They have molded you. They have trained you so that you will always take them back, because hope is the last thing that goes. So they have trained you for the pain that you endure. They have trained you for the misery that you are enduring, because they know no matter what it is I do, you'll always take me back. You'll always be there. You see what I mean? Until you break that narcissistic cycle, that familiar cycle, you know. And it's almost like with them, a lot of you can pick up their cycles too. Every 2 to 3 months, they get caught doing something. Every 2 to 3 months, they're already with someone else. Every 2 to 3 months, they leave. And it's a cycle. Some of you guys, every 2 or 3 weeks, you know, it's a cycle. Because they are creatures of habit. They do the same thing all the time. The only thing that ever changes is the supply. That's it. And then they mirror and mimic that new supply, and it looks like their whole life has changed. But the person is still the exact same. Different outfit, different car, different supply, same person, same cycle, same behavior, same personality disorder, same thought process, same mindset. No different. They're the same individuals. That's what made you a good supply, is the amount of pain that they were able to inflict and you didn't go anywhere. Where you became a bad supply is when you finally woke up, broke the cycle, and discarded. When you finally realized something is wrong and you became knowledgeable, that's what made you a bad supply. I'd much rather be a bad supply than a good supply. That's your goal. Hopefully this has helped you. It's not a very long video. I just wanted to get that point out. That was a question that was asked. Thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. It is Dr. Carmen Bryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse podcast. I have podcasts. You can find me on Podbean. That's the main platform. Podbean, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play. You can find me on there, and the title is Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. You'll find me there. On YouTube, you'll find me under Dr. Carmen Bryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse, and my Facebook page, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse, or Psychological Health Consultants and Services. Make sure you subscribe to my mentors page. It is Helen Sadler, Destiny Helper, on YouTube. Share her videos. She'll give you a different perspective from a spiritual point of view concerning a narcissist. Those of you that are interested in my book, you can go to Barnes & Noble or Amazon. It is Unmasking the Illusion of Perfection. I do offer coaching. My information is underneath the YouTube video, Dr. Carmen Bryant at outlook.com, to inquire more information about coaching. If you are in the state of Washington, you're welcome to contact me in reference to counseling. Only counseling inside the state of Washington if you are interested. Also, for those of you that are looking for counselors in your area, you can go to betterhelp.com/Dr. Carmen, and you will get a 10% discount. They will help you find a counselor to meet your needs, whether it's trauma, domestic violence, that's what you're looking for. And if you tell them you're having some financial difficulties, they do offer grants. So you are welcome to go through betterhelp.com/Dr. Carmen. And did I miss anything? I think that's about it. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys for being here. You guys have a wonderful day and go be great.